I love that you said every day wasn't perfect because we
Oh,
do have
yeah.
to give ourselves some grace and not give up if we don't have a perfect day because at the end of the day, all those little things that you are doing make a difference and
Yeah.
they create the habits.
You're listening to the What the Gut podcast, where busy moms can come for a holistic approach to health and vitality. I'm Allison, your host, a holistic health and wellness coach. In this space, we'll dive into the intricacies of achieving holistic wellness while balancing the demands of daily life as a busy mom. What the Gut is your haven for navigating the challenges that come with juggling numerous tasks while aiming for a healthier, more balanced life. Join me as we uncover practical solutions to common health hurdles, from managing fatigue to understanding all things gut health. Through insightful discussions, actionable insights, and tailored lifestyle strategies, my goal here is to empower you to embrace a vibrant, nourishing life while saying goodbye to being overwhelmed and exhausted. So if you're ready to embark on this transformative journey towards holistic well-being, hit that subscribe button. Get ready to discover the secrets to thriving in motherhood while nurturing your overall wellness. A quick reminder, everything discussed here is for educational and empowering purposes only and is not intended for personalized medical advice. Consult your personal healthcare provider for personalized medical advice. Welcome to What the Gut, where we create our own path to holistic health, one episode at a time. Hello, and welcome back to What the Gut. If you have ever struggled with constant colds, acne, exhaustion, or just felt like your body was working against you, then this episode is for you today. We know that the gut is the foundation of our health. But what happens when it is out of balance? And where do you even start whenever you want to heal? Today, I'm joined by Andrea Ballenthin, a functional nutritionist specializing in gut health, hormonal imbalances, and skin health. Her passion for a holistic approach to healing really came from her own personal health battles. She had years of chronic illness, infections, and skin issues that left her exhausted and searching for answers. Her journey has led her to make small but powerful changes, and eventually she went back to school to dedicate her career to helping others reclaim their health through nutrition and functional medicine. In this episode, we'll answer questions like, what are the biggest disruptors of the gut microbiome? Why is gut health the absolute foundation for overall health? What small, realistic changes can you make to start healing your gut today? How can stool testing really help you uncover the hidden gut issues you're struggling with? And what are some of the best foods for your gut healing? As a mom herself, Andrea understands the challenges of prioritizing health while juggling life and kids. She's here to share her knowledge, practical tips, and encouragement for making small, sustainable changes that lead to big health transformations. Join me in welcoming Andrea to the podcast today.
Hello. Hi, Allison. How are
Hey,
you?
hey, Andrea, I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I know that you really just specialize in like gut health,
Mhm.
hormones, skin health. I
Yeah.
love that. I love anything related to gut health. I guess the first question I really want to ask you is, what are some of the biggest disruptors of the gut microbiome?
Yeah. So the biggest disruptors that I've seen are antibiotics. Those are huge. And I've even seen it where they do one round and we worked for a year on the gut and then something flares. They get on an antibiotic and we're back to GI symptoms like diarrhea, bloating, and all that. And a lot of times it's not as bad as when they first presented, but it's okay. We did all that work and now we're going to have to go in and
Yeah.
air again. Is there another opportunist bacteria or infection that kind of emerged because of it?
Okay, so I'm really glad that you like just started with that because I want to ask your opinion. If somebody decides to take an antibiotic or
Hmm.
has to for some reason, what would you suggest they do either while on the antibiotic or like afterwards to just replenish their gut to get it back
Yeah.
to a healthy state?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we can go down a long conversation down that road into many different areas. But I would say if you can tolerate fiber, keep the diet high in fiber because that'll feed the good bacteria that are already present in the gut. So just being aware around your fiber intake, decrease the sugar intake because that
Right.
helps the immune system and the T regulatory response for the body to even fight the infection while they're on the antibiotic. And I love fermented foods.
Yeah.
Sometimes people aren't super cooperative with adding them in. They can be very helpful, especially things like kimchi and sauerkraut, and even the sauerkraut juice is
Yeah.
very therapeutic and healing for the gut lining.
I think it's fermented foods, like, it's an acquired taste.
For sure.
Like, you've got
Sure.
to adapt to it, but I will say I didn't
Mhm,
eat fermented foods for a long time, I just never was interested, but then I started having kimchi every day, and
mhm.
that's my go-to fermented foods, but now I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's one of those you just have to adapt to.
totally. And it's not like you have to have loads and loads of it, like 1
Right.
tablespoon a day.
Yeah, and that's all I do. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Typically, at least
Uh,
lunch, I just make sure I have some with my food.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
If somebody's, like, on an antibiotic and keeping up
Mhm.
with their fiber and trying to replenish, doing fermented foods at the same time, and they're maybe not having a ton of side effects of the antibiotic, a lot of GI upset, stuff like that, that's a pretty good sign, and just keep that going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think it's yeah.
The spore probiotics are pretty nice too with antibiotics,
Mhm.
so I'll add those in sometimes too. You have to take them away from the antibiotic, so a few hours away so they don't really interfere.
Yeah. I've encountered a few of my friends lately have been like, "Allison, I really need to take this antibiotic, but I don't want it
Mhm.
to just destroy everything." And,
Yep.
I'm always curious what other people's approaches are. They're similar to what I would recommend as well. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. Now, I know,
Yeah.
Andrea, you had years of chronic illness, infections, and skin
Mhm.
issues.
Oh my
Tell me about that. What was that like for
oh
you?
gosh. Honestly, I haven't opened up a lot about it just because it was I don't know, it's somewhere I still need to come to terms with, but due to some complications as a child with some childhood illness, I was on a steroid, prednisone, for years, and I know what I know now looking back, that it not only destroyed my gut, but my immune system.
Yeah.
So, as that started to tank, I was just, like, chronically sick, and I noticed it more after my pregnancies. Like, I could tell something wasn't quite right, like, before I got pregnant. Like, I started getting more breakouts, but I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't, like, that big of a deal. I look back to I was probably chronically constipated, and then after the kids, I would get a cold and I would be knocked out for 10 to 14 days. I'm not talking about just being miserable. I was, like, in bed, fever, the whole works, eye infections, sinus infections, bronchitis, everything. Every time I
Wow.
would get a cold, and this went on for, gosh, I would have to say 4 to 5 years. So
Mm,
imagine all the antibiotics I was on too.
yeah.
Um,
Something about having kids after we have kids,
yeah,
like, it's a trigger for our bodies,
totally.
because of all the stress and everything our bodies go through to build
Yeah,
these children and everything.
yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
And yeah, and so things just started into a downward spiral. I started getting cystic acne and boils, even like on my arms and stuff. It was just bad. And
Yeah,
finally just woke up one day after being on the antibiotics and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm like, there has to be another way.
yeah,
And I don't know what lit the fire under me. My parents were always pretty conscious about what we ate and we did vitamins and everything growing up. And so I had a conversation with my dad and he said, well, just start like with a multivitamin. I'm like, okay, I can do that. And then I don't know, something like lit the fire under me and I started researching, changed my whole diet. And honestly, I just started with high fructose corn syrup and got that out of my diet.
yeah,
Then that led to one thing to another thing and how I fed my kids. And within a couple years, I hadn't had antibiotics at all.
yeah.
So just the little
Wow.
changes every day that I made probably saved my life when
Yeah,
I you
yeah.
know?
Just being on steroids for so long,
Mhm.
that is so common. It's
Yep.
so common to prescribe, like, a low dose
Mhm.
for an unlimited amount of time for people with certain respiratory stuff, autoimmune stuff, whatever. I see it all the time. And, you know, the way that the steroids work, they do suppress your immune system. That's
Mhm.
why they work for flare ups and to put like autoimmune type issues at bay. But if you're doing that over
Right.
time, your body's not going to have the strength to fight off everything. And you're going to be so susceptible to all these
Right.
illnesses. And then
Yeah.
being a mom of young kids, you can't show up. You can't get out of the bed. That's gosh.
And I think that's part of what made me change was my kids, because I wasn't there for my kids, and they were little.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't be the mom I wanna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with your skin specifically,
Mhm.
our gut and our skin, the connection there is
Mhm.
so intense, and I love talking about it, but skin is just one of those things. If you have a skin issue, you always go to just your doctor, ask, and you usually get like a topical cream,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's what they're taught. But I'd love to touch more on that. I know you said
Mhm.
you had boils and cystic acne, and I've struggled with that too in the past, and I've just
Mhm.
cleaned up my gut health and that's helped. But I'm curious, what was it for you? Was it just like it all cleared up once you
Uh,
diet
you know,
or
that was a journey. I did a lot of detoxification protocols, and even just changing my diet, I could see the flares calm down just by
yeah.
changing my diet. After just a couple years of trying to do things on my own, I did go see a naturopathic doctor. And so she addressed some hormone imbalances. There were definitely some that probably resulted from not only being on birth control, but then the leaky gut scenario that was going on and
Yeah.
dysbiosis. So we addressed hormonal issues. We did some gut healing things, like a glutamine powder with a lot of them have combinations of like marshmallow and slippery elm and just different combinations of things like that. I did those on and off for several years. Probiotics, really watched my sugar intake too.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a huge flare, and I noticed dairy would flare it. Now I
Yeah.
can tolerate dairy, especially if I take like a digestive enzyme, I can do a little bit of dairy now, which it makes me feel so good.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I was on hormonal birth control for years
Mhm.
and decided to get off of it a couple years ago and
Yeah.
had a lot of that hormone rebound from it and got cystic acne and just scarring and all kinds of issues. And then you get anxious and you pick at your face and all that stuff. I'm not the only one, I know. But
Yeah.
and it's like, why am I in my 30s breaking out like this? I
Yeah.
never had bad skin in high school, but I also was always on birth control that
Yeah.
suppressed all my hormones. You were talking about just incorporating the probiotics and all the things that soothe your gut. That was
Yeah.
helping your skin, but also I'm sure helping your gut for sure, but also
Mhm.
so many other aspects of your health.
Yep.
And then you were talking about your sugar intake and dairy and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
I know now if I have a gluten-free cupcake or something, like, every now and then,
Mhm.
I can tolerate it, but I notice, like, my skin will get irritated. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
sensitive to sugar and, like,
Uh-huh.
with sugar because I'll get a headache within 5 minutes too. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And
Yeah.
it's a little disappointing because you wanna have a gluten-free cupcake or whatever every now and then.
I know.
And I'm like, "Okay,
I
why
know.
do I keep doing this?" Because you forget,
Yeah.
like, just how sensitive your body is to things, and I think getting your health in a good place, you're more keen and aware of how food like that affects you.
Totally. Totally.
So, it's really interesting. Now, I know that you do stool testing as well, and
Oh,
so
yes.
I love stool testing. It's everybody's, "Oh, that's so gross," but I'm like, "This is like all of the hidden amazing things in your poop can tell you so much cool stuff." So, I'm
Isn't it?
curious, how can stool testing just help uncover hidden gut issues?
Oh, yeah. So just to circle back on like my skin issue, once I got into where I am right now, I started doing more testing on myself and I ended up finding a parasite on my
Yeah.
stool test. And once I addressed the parasite, that's what really cleared up my skin fast.
That
I see
crazy?
that. But as far as like stool testing, we can see how well you're digesting your macronutrient, your fibers, your protein, your carbohydrates, and just really working from the top down. And if you're not digesting your food, like nothing else is going to work right. So that is super informative. And you can go by symptoms, but not everybody always has symptoms. So,
Right. I love how I'm just, like, hearing you talk, I'm like, "Yes." But some people too might not even put what they're experiencing and what's going on together as a
Yeah,
symptom. For me, I always had terrible brain fog and couldn't think straight until that was gone. I never realized it was really a problem. You know what
sure.
I mean? That was just absolutely insane. And then you mentioned not digesting your food properly. With me, I got to a point where I was like, I'm eating so healthy. I'm eating all the right
Mhm,
things. I still feel terrible, have stomach pain, my bowel habits are
mhm.
off, like something is off. And
Yeah.
so it's if you are listening and you're out there like eating healthy, doing all these right things, but something is still off, you're getting enough protein and you go and get blood work done and all your labs are normal.
Mhm.
Taking a deeper look through a stool test is going to tell you, are you actually using what you're putting in your body? Are you even digesting it and absorbing it? That was eye opening to me.
Yeah, that's a great point. 'Cause if you're not digesting and absorbing your food, not only is it fermenting in your gut, but
Mm.
you're contributing to micronutrient deficiencies.
Right.
Yeah, it's huge. And just chewing your food could
Yes.
be that simple.
It's crazy because I remember just sitting there chewing my food more slowly, like really
Mhm,
practicing that and just like noticing a difference almost
mhm.
instantly. I didn't have the
Really?
terrible stomach pain.
Oh, cool.
And I was just like, "Okay, hold on. You mean to tell me that, like, the Lord actually gave me all the tools I really need? All I really have to do is just
Yeah,
do my food?" There were
yeah.
other factors, of course, but it sounds so simple, y'all, but it's hard. It's hard to do that when you're a mom and you're, like, rushing out the door, getting kids ready, and scarfing your food down in the carpool line, or standing up when you eat breakfast and not sitting down. Even now,
Mhm.
I have to remind myself even now, "Okay, just at least slow down." It's hard.
Good.
But it makes
Yeah.
such a difference.
It
Such a
makes a
difference.
huge difference, and our mouth releases that amylase enzyme to help break
Mhm.
down that food, and it actually helps prevent pathogens too along the intestinal tract and everything. So, yeah, chewing your food is where we need to start, especially at, like you mentioned, in this fast-paced life everybody lives. It's
Yeah.
lost track of slowing down and really appreciating our food.
Right. And a little step that people can take if you work, like, in an office, something I try to tell my clients is, "Okay, you get a lunch break. Go
Mhm.
outside. If it's a nice day, go sit outside while you eat your lunch. If
Yeah.
it's raining, you can't go outside, okay, at least close your computer, get away from your computer.
Yeah.
Just take your break. Don't work through your lunch break. Just take your break
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
slow down. And that was really hard for me to do too, because at the time I was working in the hospital as a nurse, as a floor nurse, working like 12-hour
Mhm.
shifts. And it's hard to take a lunch break. You get a lunch break, but it's so easy to just say, I'll work through my lunch break. But
Mhm.
that was one of the best things I could have done for myself is say, okay, I'm taking my lunch break. It's hard
Yeah.
to do though.
Are
Yeah.
there any other things that you found helpful when you were trying to be conscious of that and slow down? Because I feel like that is definitely an area I see in so many clients. They're like, I don't have time for breakfast. I don't have time to eat my lunch. What was it just making the time? What really helped you?
Yeah, I think meal prepping, and it's totally possible. I always talk to my clients about that because some people are like, I just don't have time. Look, I was
Yeah.
working full time, 12-hour shifts, and have 3 kids. It's
Yeah.
totally possible. You just have to prioritize what's important. And so I just would meal prep and like I would always try to eat my breakfast or take a quick, like, 10-minute break once I got to work if I didn't eat, like, an early breakfast away from my computer and just sit down and eat
Mhm.
and try not to be working at the same time. Like, 10 minutes, y'all. If you think about it during your workday, like, you're on your phone for 10 minutes doing something
Mhm.
or in the bathroom or whatever. You can make time for it, but I think meal prepping and making sure that you've got, like, that healthy food available ahead of time is really
Mhm.
important, but then also, like, setting boundaries and
Yeah.
saying no to things. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I was like, "Okay, I need my morning time to myself," and whenever I really got into, like, my routine and just really started my health journey. It was 2020, 2021. So we were home. I had a newborn and I've got 3 kids. So 2 little ones and a newborn. And so much of it, it was like, okay, you know what? For 20 minutes, y'all are going to go color in the other room, or turn the TV on, there's a time and a
Yeah.
place for the TV, and that was
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And I'm gonna do my exercise or I'm gonna do my Bible study, and they knew, okay, like, that's mama's time. It didn't go perfect, they interrupt me half the time, but you do what you can, and eventually,
Yeah.
like, now they know, now years later,
Mhm.
they're getting to where, "Okay, no, mama's doing her stuff," and so I think just saying, "I need to have my time for me to cook or whatever, spend your time by
Mhm.
yourself," and also not feel like you have to commit to everything, whether that's at work or at home. That was a big thing for me. It's really hard because I've struggled a lot with, like, anxiety and, like, OCD tendencies in the past, and so for me, it's, "No, I can't sit down. I need to go clean the house. I need to do the dishes. I need to do the laundry." Like, I have to do all these things, but slowing down and telling myself, "Okay, I just really need to focus on me right now,
Yeah.
because if I focus on me more, I can focus and show up for my kids more." So just saying, "I can't do the laundry right now. I'm just gonna have to
Mhm.
say no to that." All of and it wasn't like every day was perfect, but just over time doing all of that, that helped my stress levels, which in turn helped my gut, right?
Yeah. And I love that you said every day wasn't perfect because we
Oh,
do have
yeah.
to give ourselves some grace and not give up if we don't have a perfect day because at the end of the day, all those little things that you are doing make a difference and
Yeah.
they create the habits.
Yeah. Definitely not every day perfect, but I think
Mm.
showing up and being consistent and say to yourself, "This is how it's gonna go," and your
Yeah.
kids too get used to, like, "Okay, this
Mhm.
is the routine that mom does." That was just really helpful. But even today, every day is not perfect, but
Mm.
we're just gonna keep trying, though. We're just gonna
Trying.
keep going.
Yeah.
But, Andrea, I know that you mentioned, like, fermented foods being just really great for your gut health,
Mhm.
but what are some other awesome foods for your gut health?
Yeah. So keeping a whole food diet, getting rid of the processed foods, the sugars, the refined carbohydrates, super important because they will break down that gut lining. But the high fiber foods are great for the gut. The apples and the pears and the beans and oats, if you can tolerate them. Just the vegetables and fruits, they all have fiber content in them. They feed the gut bacteria. And what happens is that bacteria then can create short chain fatty acids. And the short chain fatty acids are fermented by the gut bacteria, where they are very profound in gut healing. So the higher the fiber, basically the higher the short chain fatty acids are, like butyrate. Butyrate is another hot topic right now.
Mm.
And so if you have more butyrate in your gut, it promotes gut healing of the lining and the mucus layer. That mucus layer is pretty much your first defense on pathogens coming into the gut. It's also now being studied with colon cancer, and there's a lot of good research coming forward as it can be preventative in colon cancer. So having good butyrate levels
Makes sense.
are super important. They have been known to inhibit candida and pathogens and help with like calcium and magnesium absorption as well. So just
Yeah.
really profound and just very anti-inflammatory. So if I see inflammation come back on a stool test, that's one of my first line of defenses. And often the inflammation I see also low levels of butyrate or short chain fatty acids as well on the stool test, which we can measure.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice tool to use and practice because then we're just not throwing things at the person.
Yeah.
What is going on? Are there gut issues or are there short chain fatty acid issues? Are there organ issues?
Is
Bio
it an absorption or digestive
Yes.
issue or
Yeah.
parasite?
Parasite. Yeah. And parasites sometimes show up, sometimes don't. I see them, but also I suspect them and I don't see them.
And the thing with parasites is they can actually be all over your body. They can be anywhere in your
Totally.
body and at
Yep.
different stages too, microscopic to actually very apparent.
Mhm.
And when you do a stool test, it's only testing the stool. A lot of times you don't always catch it, but
Right.
yeah. But
Right.
even all these different, like, gut bugs that are on there, there's
Mhm.
different ways to approach how you eradicate those, and so,
Yep.
really just knowing exactly what's going on is the best way, and compared to
Total
a stool test that you would do at just your Western medicine provider's office, all that shows is, like, are there parasites? Like, literally,
Yeah.
it's called an O&P, an ovum and
Yeah.
parasite exam, and literally that's all it tests for. It doesn't even break down anything else. It's a
Yeah.
waste of time.
I hear you. Yeah. I love blueberries for the polyphenols. Those are like a top prebiotic food, feeds the gut, anti-inflammatory, love it. Actually, grass-fed butter promotes butyrate production, so even just 2 tablespoons of grass-fed butter a day,
Yeah,
and most people, even if you're dairy intolerant, can tolerate.
tolerate it if it's, like,
Mhm,
grass-fed,
and you
yeah.
can also do ghee too. That
Mhm.
would also provide the butyrate.
Yeah, we do ghee at my house. But
Yeah.
everybody listening, you can do blueberries with your breakfast, kimchi at your lunch,
Mm,
incorporate that with your whole foods. And I think a lot of people get the misconception I hear that, oh, to be healthy, it's so expensive. But half this stuff you can grow in your backyard. You don't have to pay a
mm,
ton for. But also, it's like, it's really not. Like, it's just real whole foods and it's not
right.
complicated. It's actually so much more simple because we're not trying to just recreate the wheel in a factory and make something edible.
And I know, like, at Trader Joe's, you can go and buy a bag of apples for, I don't know, $3 or something, and if you're eating real food, that apple is probably gonna be enough to sustain you for a snack instead of eating, like, a bag of chips, because
Right.
we're getting a nutrient-dense food. The bag of chips, you're still gonna be hungry because it's just basically empty calories. It's doing nothing for your body. It's not providing any
Right.
nutrition. So, yeah, when you go back to, is it expensive? It's all about choices. Are you gonna spend the $2.99 on the bag of chips, or are you gonna spend the $2.99 on the bag of apples that are actually
Right.
gonna feed your gut microbiome, make you feel full, give you the nutrients and minerals that your body needs?
Also, just how it impacts your blood sugar. You're not gonna have
Totally.
that crash.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
there's just so many benefits to just eating
Mhm.
whole foods.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that. And we talked about some helpful quick tips that people can start to incorporate to try to improve their gut health. Is there any other tips that you would wanna leave with our listeners today?
I guess the tips would be just take one thing at a time. Just evaluate what you're eating. It doesn't need to be an overhaul in 1 day or 1 week
Yeah.
even. Maybe just look at what you're eating for breakfast,
Yeah.
and how do you feel after you eat breakfast? Are you jittery? Are you jumpy? Are you tired? Make sure you're getting the protein at breakfast and just reevaluating how you're starting your day, because that can give you the energy to carry you throughout the day,
Yeah.
make other changes. So I find that very helpful. Give yourself grace. There's not going to be perfect days every day. It's just like you said, consistency. And the other thing, if you've been struggling with GI issues for a while and you've tried multiple things, seek out help. Seek out a functional medicine practitioner, a
Yes.
nutritionist, someone who can help guide you, do some testing and nail down what's going on. Because really, if you can nail it down, a few months, 6 months, you could feel completely different.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate how you pointed that out. There are tests out there
Mhm.
to figure out what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And I know it is so defeating to just go to your provider and keep being told, your
Mhm.
labs are normal, your labs are normal. Y'all, there are so many other tests out there that are not being done by providers
Yeah.
because insurance might not cover it or whatever, but
Mm.
you can definitely get answers if you just search for the right provider who's gonna fight for you too to
Right.
find them.
Right.
I
Right.
love that. Well,
Yes. Yeah.
Andrea, this has been so cool, so fun. I
Oh, good.
appreciate everything that you have shared with us today.
For
Thanks so
having
much
me.
for being here. And for those listening, if you want to find Andrea, I'm going to put her Instagram in the show notes. So y'all be sure to follow her and reach out to her as well.
Thank you, Allison. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, this was so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of my journey on What the Gut podcast. For a deeper dive into today's topics, head over to allisonandwellness.com/whatthegut or find the detailed show notes linked below. Hey, and don't miss out on future episodes. Hit that subscribe button, and if you love this one, please leave me a review. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. Connect with me and stay updated and engaged with my awesome community. Plus, share these valuable insights with your tribe. They deserve to feel as amazing as you do. You can find me at Allison_and_wellness on Instagram. Your support means the world to me. I'm looking forward to our next awesome chat. But until then, stay curious, don't drink too much coffee, keep the vibrant energy flowing, and take care of your gut. Catch you real soon. Oh, and hey, if you're ready to dive deeper into personalized wellness, check out my one-on-one health coaching program at AllisonandWellness.com. Let's make your journey to holistic health truly transformative. Hey there, it's Allison, and if you're anything like me, coffee is a non-negotiable part of your day. But did you know that most coffee is loaded with mold, toxins, and pesticides that could be messing up your gut and hormones? Yeah, no thanks. That's why I only drink Purity coffee. It's organic, tested for toxins, and it's packed with antioxidants that actually support your health instead of wrecking it. It's smooth, delicious, and best of all, it does not leave me feeling jittery or bloated. So if you're ready to upgrade your coffee game and support your gut at the same time, grab a bag of Purity coffee today. Your body will thank you. Oh, and because you are part of the What the Gut family, I've got a special link just for you. Just head to puritycoffee.com and use code AllisonGetsWell for 20% off your first order. Cheers to coffee that loves you back. Hey friend, let's talk about something real: bloating, stomach pain, and fatigue. You do not have to live like this. I know because I was there too. I was frustrated, exhausted, and trying everything, but still felt miserable. And that's exactly why I created my Get Well one-on-one gut health coaching program to help women like you finally get to the root cause of your symptoms, heal your gut, and feel like yourself again. No more guessing, no more Band-Aid fixes, just real, sustainable solutions tailored to your body. So if you're ready to ditch the bloating, boost your energy, and actually enjoy food without discomfort, let's do this together. Head to AllisonGetsWell.com or reach out to me on Instagram at AllisonGetsWell to learn more and apply today, because you deserve to feel good in your body every single day.